welcome on into Courtside. I'm your host, Courtney Webb, and this is a digital series about QVC entrepreneurs. And we have one that I'm very excited to bring to you, Miss Kim Gravel. Hello, welcome in.
Hey, girl. Thanks for having me.
We are so happy to have you and hear your backstory and all of the things that are going on, because you are definitely someone we're interested in.
Oh, well, that's always a good thing, right?
It is, right? It is a positive thing. So first and foremost, let's just dive right in. I mean, you started off as one of the youngest pageant winners for your state. I mean, 19 years old, is that where it begins, or do we go back further?
Listen, I've always been dabbling in something. I've had my feet and toes in a lot of different stuff, but 19 was kind of like, my coming out into, what I would consider my career path. Yes.
So what kind of started you on that trajectory? Because obviously you were in the pageant business. I've seen the pageant business, wasn't in it, but have seen it, and it's pretty rigorous. I mean, it had to kind of mold you into seeing what kind of woman you wanted to be.
Well, Courtney, I was never a pageant girl. I've never been a traditional or natural beauty. So really what the draw was for me was back in the day, I'm a lot older than you, but you didn't have the American Idols, YouTube, and all this kind of, exposure or platforms to really, get your message or your talents or your, didn't have a lot of platforms to pursue your dreams. So pageantry for women was really kind of one of the only few options that you could do that. Plus, it paid for my entire college education. So it was a twofer. So I knew at a young age, I'm like, okay, at the time I thought I wanted to sing and public speak. And so I pursued it just for a platform, because back then we didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So what actually tipped you into saying, I want to actually create my own business? I want to get into entrepreneurship. What was that pivotal point for you?
Well, for me, and I think for many entrepreneurs out there, if you trace back and look back at your life, you'll always see there's always been a little bit of entrepreneurship in you. You say, Kim, are you born with it? Yes. Can you develop it? Absolutely. And so for me, looking back, I never thought of myself as, I want to start a business and be entrepreneur. It just always was, meaning I've always been a curious creator of whatever. So it wasn't always products. Sometimes it was events. A lot of times it was myself, recreating. But I've always been that kind of creative or creator mentality. So for me, entrepreneurship has been a thread throughout my entire life, and I didn't even know it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like looking back, I'm like, oh, that's what that was,
That's so funny you say that. I heard the word a lot when I was younger. It was insubordinate. And I used to think like, well, that's not good. And then now I'm like, you know what? That was me being an entrepreneur.
Insubordinate is sometimes really, really good, especially it depends on who you're subordinate to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's challenging authority, you know what I'm saying? Or challenging the way things are done. That's clearly, if you take any kind of Enneagram personality, proficiency test, I always popped up as an innovator creator. That was always what came back for me. And I thought, not really. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times it's masked. It doesn't look like what you think a entrepreneur should look like.
Well, and that's just the thing. Now we're starting to realize that there are so many avenues and so many categories. There is no right way. There's your way, whichever way you decide.
Right. And I would say now more than ever, especially to young people, like I speak a lot to millennials and I train a lot of these and mentor a lot of these young women in particularly that say, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I think, oh, that's a good place to be because you can do anything in today. Anywhere from doing a YouTube channel to creating a line of beauty products or apparel. Now is the time to do that. So entrepreneurial, this is what makes this country great, right?
That is so true. Yeah. Makes you want to be here. So You just mentioned a little bit about mentorship. So you're a certified life coach, is that right?
Yeah, I'm certified. And that again, I've always been a champion of people and doing it and helping and seeing the best potential. I say this, and I can say this now at 47 years old. There's no one, Courtney, that can bring out the best in you better than me. They might do it as good as me, but not better than me, because I truly believe that's my life's call, is to, help be a part or help see the potential in all of us.
So that's actually an interesting point, because I think a lot of us were like, how do I pull this out of myself? And everyone is different, but you being a life coach, you've probably seen so many versatile ways to do that. What are some, or what's like one even that you're like, this is something I've identified in a lot of women maybe, or men also, that you're like, this is something that I wish I could just share with everyone and say, like, you should try X, or you should do X, or what could just pull this out of people?
Well, this is the thing. Like, we see in today's society, there's so much self-help out there. There's so much courses you can take and things you can go online and how-tos, like do these 10 things and you'll be successful. I don't necessarily agree with all of that. What I do know is that in my own life, and in other people's lives, when I have had a chance to be a boss like I am now, or even work in the corporate America like I did for a long time in a managerial position, I always told, mentored, helped people find the threads in their life. Okay. So there's always this little thread in your life that you can look back on your life and see, okay, this was pointing to this, was pointing to this, to pointing to this. There's always a thread of purpose in our lives. And finding that and looking back over your life and analyzing that is the best life coaching you can ever give to yourself. Is, for me, I can look back in my life and see how from a very young age, I've always been a builder, an edifier. I've always been a person to want to build something. And to the point, if I can't build it, I'm done with it. Or after I build it, I'm ready to move on to something else. And so I've always look for the thread in your life. I said this because it will point you to your purpose. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
Just your job is not your purpose. What you do is not your purpose. So don't get hung up on what you do.
Interesting. Okay.
Like a lot of people, like I've done tons of things in the world of entrepreneurship, tons of things. I've cut records. I've been pageant coach. I've had a TV show. Now I've got a QVC. I've done so many things with the purpose of building. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does actually. And that actually makes a lot of sense when I think of your line, because when I first was introduced by Belle, by Kim Gravel, the line that's at QVC, I noticed all of the inspirational messages like inside the pants, or when you would talk about why you created a top or why you created certain fabrics like Flexibel. And I kept thinking, this is more than just fashion. Like, you have brought us something that goes deeper than that. And so to hear you say I'm a builder, I'm like, well, there it is. That makes complete sense, because you build people, not only businesses in the sense of your line at QVC, but I mean, people in general. So that's truly your passion, I assume.
But that's it. That's purpose, right? So purpose is not just one thing that you do. It is in everything that you do. So to me, that's why entrepreneurship is really exciting to me, because there's no limits to building. You can build a clothing line, you can build people, you can build a website, you can build a building. I mean, there's so many things that's within my purpose. That's what that thread is I'm talking about. So for me, when I talk to people, mentor people, or try to encourage people, I always say, look for that thread of that thing that you've done your entire life naturally. You didn't have to work at it. It just came natural. And it can look a lot of different ways.
Oh, I'm sure it can. I'm sure that's why having you as a life coach would also help, because I get to see myself being like, well, Kim, today I looked like this, and then it looked like this yesterday.
Right, it can. And that's the exciting thing about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, with entrepreneurship, there is no one way of being. Like, you don't have to go start a business and build, and create something and sell it. That's not necessarily what entrepreneurship is.
That's perfect. So let's just back up just a little bit.
Okay.
You obviously created your line, Belle by Kim Gravel. Tell me the inspiration behind that. I mean, I might guess, but I want to hear it from you. Like, what made you want to create a clothing line?
Well, one, it was out of a challenge. Can I do it? And two, it's like, I need something to wear that's cute. Okay. Because I've been every size on the chart, girl. I've been a 2 all the way to a 14. So, and everything in between. So for me, I wanted to still look fashionable and trend right, but as a middle-aged woman of a certain size, I wanted to. There was not a lot out there for me, not a lot of options. And if there were, they were very expensive and they were very exclusive, not inclusive. So when we created Belle, I wanted it to be for every single female on the planet. I wanted to create something that every woman could wear. And people say, oh, the real girl. We're all real girls.
Right.
A model on Victoria's Secret's runway show, you're a real girl. If you are a mom of 3 trying to lose 50 pounds, you're a real girl. So what I'm saying is I wanted it to be a place for women to shop and yet take a little piece of encouragement with them, meaning believe in your own beauty as you are right now. You don't have to change. You don't have to be something else. You don't have to lose weight, get taller, get smaller. It does. If you want to, that's fantastic. And we all want to be our very best. But you are your very best right now where you are. Be that.
And that's something to definitely take into heart, especially now, because we're all kind of having this opportunity to reinvent ourselves in the space that we're given. And so I really like that you just said that. And of course, obviously, your line just spans across any size, like you said. You can shop it on QVC.com. But then you brought us a second collection. You brought us the beauty side. Yeah. So then you went into beauty. Tell me a little bit about that. What inspired Belle Beauty?
Well, I started in beauty. That's where actually fashion is something I just love. I mean, it's just fun and I love it. Beauty is something I actually worked in the industry. I started my career after winning Miss Georgia in that industry, working for some of the largest cosmetic companies on the planet and just learning about research and development. I was part of focus grouping and really got to sit and listen to women talk about what they thought was beautiful, what they were looking for. So in development of products and marketing of products. So beauty is something that I've been doing like for a long, long time, even before fashion. So when I came to QVC and I said, I'll never forget this meeting, girl. Lord have mercy. Let me tell y'all something. QVC don't play, meaning they're very particular about the brands and the brand stories that come to their organization. Yes. That's the only reason I wanted to go there was because they do stand for quality, value, and convenience. But that quality being the number one thing is what they care about. And I remember going into my first meeting, Courtney, and you probably could tell stories like this similar to you auditioning for your job or interviewing for your job. I walked in and they said to me, you can never do fashion or beauty. It was to the point they were like, don't even bring beauty. My person that was going in with me, my manufacturer, was like, don't do it. You're going to tick them off, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, I'm doing it because I truly feel like there is a place for this messaging in both areas. And I'm an expertise in both areas. And by the time we left the meeting, they were like, we want both. So note to everybody out there, go with your gut instinct, that inside voice that says, no, it might not have been done before. Or no, they might be saying no already, but they haven't. I had to give them an opportunity to reject me. That is something an entrepreneur you have got to do. You've got to put yourself out there and believe in it. Believe in what you do.
Definitely. And just like you saying, I love what you just said. You said, let them have a chance to reject you.
Absolutely.
We look at rejection as such a negative thing. And when you say it like that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, rejection is just progress. It's just the next step. It's like another place for you to come from and figure out why.
I used to get really down about rejection, to be honest with you. I used to, I mean, who doesn't, right? But it used to almost paralyze me when I was younger. Now, when I am rejected, and thank God QVC didn't reject me, but when I look at rejection as like, well, then you don't know nothing then. If you can't get this, then you don't. That's how I look at rejection now. And I'm saying that in my Southern slang, but if I was teaching a business course at Harvard, I would say that rejection is a redirection to what is right for you. And on top of that, everybody ain't going to get it.
No.
And that's because everybody's not supposed to be working with you. Because see, I've worked with the right people, but I've worked with the wrong people too. And that is, I'd rather be doing nothing than working with the wrong people.
And that also helps you figure out yourself. I mean, I think one of the things when you said find that thread and that purpose is figuring out who you work well with and who you do not work well with.
Yeah. And not everybody's supposed to work with each other. I mean, I think like at QVC, I remember walking in the building and I looked at the baseboards and I thought, oh my God, this is the cleanest building I have ever seen. And I knew they were a business and a place of excellence.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what I want to be. I want to be working with people who care enough about the people sitting at home watching this programming to know that their bathroom baseboards are as clean as their sets, behind those $1 million cameras. Yeah. And that's a kindred spirit. That's what you should be looking for. People who get you and people you get.
For sure. And I love how basically one of my questions was why QVC? And I feel like throughout this entire thing, you've told me exactly why QVC and why it means so much to you to be here and in the QVC family. So thank you for sharing that and for telling us about the baseboards, because they are quite clean, I will say.
They're very clean.
They're very clean. So has there ever been a moment in your life that you can kind of trigger or think back to that you're like, that was a stumbling block, or that was an opportunity for me to either level up and persevere, or you could have decided on that stumbling block to retract and not do it? Was there any moment in your life where you just felt like that was a challenge that kind of made you who you were or created a trait within you that was very valuable?
I've had so many challenges. We would be doing a show for the next 2 or 3 hours just to get the first decade of them. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned that I'm implementing now in my stage of life and in my stage of business is to follow the breadcrumbs, meaning pay attention to your life, be present. And I'm not saying this is some spiritual guru type of thing. I'm talking about just the everyday little moments that seem to keep reoccurring. And I'm going to say moments. People call them problems or obstacles. I call them moments because I don't want to look at it as an obstacle. I want to look at it as, okay, what is this trying to show me? For instance, I am having a hard time doing this technology thing to the point, I don't know if you're like me, Courtney, but I'm very, well, you are, because you just said you're insubordinate. So you are. Sounds like you work with a young child. But that's it on that little thing. But, it's every time I get on something like this, there is an issue. And I get so frustrated to the point it's like, okay, it's getting comical. But I think that little moment or that little what we call obstacle is trying to teach me something about, because I absolutely cannot stand doing the social media video stuff. I'm a TV person, so I'm old school. I'm used to going on a Steve Harvey set with multi-million-dollar cameras and lighting, and I just show up and do my thing. But I think that this moment is trying to teach me that's not the wave of the future, Kim. Get with it. You know what I'm saying? So listen to those moments in your life, especially if they're happening over and over and over again. Don't fight it. Just try to figure it out and learn what you need to learn so you move on.
That is definitely true, especially because when you think of, I don't know, why we're here on this earth. I mean, it's to progress. It's to learn. It's to evolve. It's to mature. like we need the problems. Otherwise, we can't figure out what's right or wrong and all of that. So it is. I mean, it's a hard thing to swallow, I think, when we look at it as problems. I love that you refer to them as moments, because that makes it a little easier.
just sugarcoat it a little bit for me, just a little sweet on it and I can eat it.
Oh, sorry. I mean, you're here to have fun and be happy.
That's right. We focus a lot of times on our problems, and they're just here to teach us something and move on. Life is short. Life is so short.
It is so, okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You're a wife, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a sister. I mean, and they're all very much, a lot of your family's involved in the business.
Right.
I mean, we see them on your social. I love seeing you with your mom and your sister and everyone. So tell me how you parallel, or some people like to use the word balance, but how do you take those two spaces and make them your own?
Well, for me, in what we do with our family, that's where the magic is in our businesses is that I am a family person. So like even at QVC, it's a big family. Like you and I are sisters, and it's like I can say what I want to about you, but somebody else does. They going down. You know what I'm saying? It's,
right.
That is who I am as a person. So family is very difficult in the work environment. I will be honest with you. Working with my mom and my sister and my best friend and my husband is challenging, especially when you have to be a boss. But that's where the magic is for us. People love seeing my 73-year-old mother out modeling and doing the thing. Because I always say this, if you're not dead, you're not done.
That's a good point.
So mom is out there, giving so much and getting so much in return. This like fourth quarter business opportunity. Who would have thought that? Awesome. I mean, it's amazing. So for me, that's where the magic is in my team, in my family working together. Is it frustrating? Heck yeah. Well, I want to, slap them upside the head 98% of the time. Oh yeah. But that's where the magic is, right? That's where the fun is. That's where true success comes from, is being in creating these environments where you thrive,
And looking for those environments, because I bet you at first, I mean, did you start off with all of them within the business, or does it kind of like evolve and you start realizing, I want you to come in, I want you to show your talents, I want you to be front facing for this time, or anything like that?
I like that, front facing. I'm writing that down. It didn't start that way. I started hiring people, but to be honest with you, a lot of times, unless it's a specific job that you need somebody to do something for, right. You gotta build a team that you trust. I'm not saying it's family all the time, but you have to build a team that has your back and that you can confide in, because business and growing something of the magnitude that we were able to grow at QVC, it takes a lot of work, and it can be very taxing, and you can go through self-doubt. You can go through, you're going to go through hard times. You're going to go through challenges. And when you do, you have to have people that you trust and love to lean on, because we're in the people business. That's the business we're in. I don't care if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a teacher, if you're a QVC brand owner, if you're a host at QVC, we're in the people business. And sometimes we as people need that support. So build a team you trust. Build a team you trust.
I like that advice. So speaking of, being in the people business, takes a lot of energy to be in the people business.
Yeah.
Are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? I could guess, but what are you?
Total extrovert. This quarantine's killing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm learning. I'm having my learning moments, because I'm a people person. And when I can't connect and I'm isolated, it's challenging for me. Are you an introvert?
I'm an introvert.
I can tell.
I'm glad you can tell, because I feel like only very few are like, I could actually see that. But most people assume I'm an extrovert. But I recharge by myself. Yeah.
I recharge with people. I really do. So
my husband's that way. Yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Well, oh my gosh, yes. He's losing his mind right now. He's pacing around the house on the phone. I'm like, honey, you got to sit down. He's like, I got to call people.
Call me, honey. Tell him to call me. I will talk his ear off. Now, the thing about my very best friend is an introvert, and business partner is a total introvert. And that's why we make such a good team, because people think introverted are people who are loners, or that's not the case. Like, Courtney, you're an amazing, you can talk the hair off a monkey's butt. I always say that. That's my go-to. Like, you're such a chit chatter, and you're in it. You're in it. Our shows have always been so much fun and been very successful. But I can tell you're an introverted person, in that you want to step away and have your moment to regroup and rethink. And so for me, I've learned how to do that a little bit through this time. It's hard though.
Oh, I'm sure it's hard. And of course, like you just mentioned earlier, you had been on certain TV shows and networks, and you've been public facing for sure. How do you stay energized and positive? Because I know if you're like me, even though you're extroverted, that camera can suck it out of you, where you're just like, did that just happen?
Well, and this is the thing, like, everybody's like, how do I get on TV, Kim? And how do I do this? I do love TV. I love TV, but I genuinely love people. So anytime I'm connecting with people, I'm fed. So for me, it could be at, the grocery store, getting the 2 chicken legs that's left in the grocery store and the 2 rolls of toilet paper. I could sit there and talk for 30 minutes to somebody I hadn't seen from the church in 6 months and feel like, oh my gosh, I can conquer the world. So you got to just take care of you is what I'm trying to say. Self-care and figuring out what, floats your boat. That's what's important, so that you can give out the best of what because life will suck you dry if you allow it. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I say this, I'm actually writing a book right now. And one chapter is life is 84.5% hard.
Why 84?
It's 84.5.
Why 84.5?
Hard? Because people, from social media to TV to entertainment, we put out this image that life is easy and life should come to you easily without any. Let me tell you something. Success, good, will cost you. Greatness is really going to cost you.
Yes.
So I try to tell people that all the time, because people say you can do anything you want to in this world. You can't. You can't.
It'll cost you.
Well, I can't go be a rocket scientist. I'm telling you that with the greatest deal of authority. I cannot do pre-algebra. There's no way I can do that.
Okay, that's true.
You can do what you worked hard for. That you want in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Your heart's desire can become your greatness, but it's going to cost you. It's not just only about to work. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you sweat equity. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you lost sleep. It's going to cost you time away from your family. It's going to cost you. And then I quote one of my favorite Atlanta rappers. And rapper producers Jermaine Dupri, how bad do you want it? That's my next question. It's gonna be, but how bad do you want it? Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The wise wisdoms of the ATL rap scene. How bad?
H-Town has some great wise words as well.
There's always ways to learn.
We won't go there, but H-Town does have some wise words. Now, as far as just even reflecting back on that, I just have to say, I agree with you when you say effort is needed and it also produces rewards, because it does. I mean, effort though, like you have to put in the effort.
You got to take a step.
You have to. And then so for you, I mean, what's going on right now? What's your next step? What are you excited about? I mean, I did hear a book.
Yeah.
But tell me some things that are coming up in the future that you're staying optimistic about.
Well, just some big picture items is our family and our family business. We are negotiating now, actually signed a little contract to do a new reality TV show about family business. So that's exciting. That might just do me in, but we're doing that. We're writing a book, but also I can't wait to get back to QVC. Oh my God. Like, it is so exciting to every season bring new products, new problem solving items, new fashion, new beauty to the queue. I am so excited to see that so many new people are now chiming in and finding out about QVC, because it's ahead of its time. I mean, QVC has always been ahead of its time. I mean, they were social media when social media didn't exist.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a lot still untapped for me at QVC that we're excited about too.
Oh, good. Well, we can't wait to have you back in the studio along with your sister and friend. I mean, literally all of y'all. Please come back. We
coming, girl. You can't keep us out. We might be wearing a mask, but we'll be there.
Yes. No, seriously. So how can we follow you? If some of us are thinking, wait, I don't know if I'm following Kim or The Line, tell us where you are on social and how we can obviously shop on QVC.com, but how we can stay in touch.
Any of our social media handles, Kim Gravel on Instagram, Facebook. We also just started a new empowerment group called Believe in Your Own Beauty on Facebook. So you can join us there. And also the brand's social medias. Belle by Kim Gravel and Belle Beauty on all the social media platforms. Or you can just hit us up on our website, kimgravel.com.
I love that. Anything else you want to share with anyone who's watching, whether it's an entrepreneurial related thing or just personal, or you feel like is just something you want to leave off with us?
Yeah, I do. I want to tell you something, Courtney. I've been following you on social media, and it's so exciting. And I think you are a little bit prophetic in the way that you're living your life, meaning this time is, I say, this too shall pass, but this is such an opportunity. And I love how you are QVC host, you're doing your athletics and your Olympic dreams. You really got your hands in a lot of things too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're forward thinking with that. You're really kind of showing us how to do a lot of things well. And so I think that's what I want to leave people with, was to kind of take I say a play out of your playbook and figure out what you want to do and do a lot of different things and get out there and do them well, because I think that is the future of being an entrepreneur, is having your hands in a lot of different things and doing them well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. And also the truth behind that is that if they don't go well, they'll fall off. And that's it. You learn from it, you keep moving like you've been talking about, and they just fall to the side. And I think that's really, I think I've embraced that this year. I was just said, look, put it all forward, do all that you can, put it with the Lord, and then whatever's not going to work is just going to fall aside. And
that's a whole nother Facebook, girl.
Yep. Bring out your Jesus pin. I mean, let's just talk.
because let me just tell you, faith, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about faith. You have to have faith. You have to believe. We have to have hope in what is tomorrow, because there is such great hope for everyone watching this. It's limitless, really. But like you said, you got to put the effort in, and you got to get yourself out there. If you're not dead, you're not done.
That is the perfect way to sign off. Kim,
love you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time. We hope to see you soon.
I love you, girl. Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.